The computer ate the sound on some of these shots, so here and there I'll be jumping in and sounding very different. This is the Panzer II. I've decided to do this one because previously I gave the Vickers Light Tank a hard time for being a bit behind the curve. So this one's around about the same proportions and sort of got the same kind of remit. And I do think this one shows up the inept and kind of misjudged qualities of the British government in particular, driving ahead the British tank design. They're still stuck in the past, particularly as the Germans are openly forging ahead with mechanised warfare. So yeah, this one shows it all up. The other thing about it is it's by Revell, or Revell, or whatever they are, so it's a bit of a change. Look, you get a little diorama, and I believe you get two little figures. Appear to be a bit Africa core, which is typical for how this tank was used and where it's used. But this means that this is the old Matchbox model that I thought had long gone and disappeared. Matchbox came out with a bunch of tanks and aircraft towards the end of their existence, and I had strong brand loyalty to Airfix in those days, but they were actually quite good, and I got into them towards the end. I think to compete with Airfix they came up with these little dioramas and added figures, which was all quite nice. But with a tank this small they've kind of gone to town and given you a substantial amount of a desert building. And this one reminds me of the horrors of tank building, which I'd forgotten, because this one is mostly wheels. They can get a bit monotonous. They're very easy, they don't take a lot of thinking about. The other thing is, it is in a desert yellow, which was a common colour for the German tanks. I thought I'd check this moments ago, and I've got the little Airfix book. I should have brought it along. I'll show you in a minute. A little Airfix book from the 70s, I would have thought, which is all about German tanks and AFVs, and it says that the Germans produced their tanks in a German grey until about sometime in 1942, when they started producing the sand coloured ones as a result of experience in desert warfare, and then started reproducing some in grey around about 44. Here's the book I mentioned, Airfix Magazine Guide 8. I think Peter Chamberlain wrote quite a lot of books on tanks. Contents worth a look. German tank developments to 1939, World War II, German tank designations, tank data, armament, camouflage and markings. Always fascinated me. Enough of that for now. We'll probably come back to it another time. Anyway, doesn't it look small from up here? The other thing to notice is that I haven't really got very far. So got to clean up the wheels a bit. One of them's a bit wonky. Sort out some of the paintwork deep inside there. But what's interesting is this. They have a securing, I don't know what, washer, for want of a better word. You glue that onto the pin that runs through to the turret, which implies that we're playing with them. The turret might fall off as we push them along the ground and go bang bang at our friends. It is funny how these things have evolved slowly and gradually. But there we are, sort of late 70s. It's still boys' playtime. Whereas now we're creating sculptures and fabulous works of art. This is the kind of track you get. It's rubber, basically, for want of a better word, and it has a sort of securing loop. I have to say, out of all the types you can get, and Airfix tried a number, this is about the best. You just pop that through. It was going really easily before, and out it comes. It can mean that you have a rather shapeless track, and given that tracks are heavy they would often sag between the idlers, but it does mean that it's not quite as realistic as it could be. And again, I get that funny feeling remembering some of the Airfix tanks that I made. You could get at least some of the wheels to go around, and there was a sense that you needed a flexible track like this because you're a little kid and you could push it along and the wheels would go around. I really think having moulded tank tracks that would sit down, that would be shaped like that, would be good. I have heard that you can get models where every link of the track can be glued. They're all separate, so you glue one to another. I think that would drive me insane. The idea of having sort of sections of track, maybe 4 or 5, shaped, moulded, hard plastic that you glue on, I think would be better. That's my personal preference. See what happened as well? The rubberiness causes the vehicle body to bounce. Revell have produced this as a model for the North Africa campaign, but of course I want to do a Europe at the start of the war. That's me, isn't it? So I've done it in grey, and I've jumbled up the markings, which is hot on the tail of my hurricane markings debacle. So that's a further embarrassment, but anyway, I'm sure you're all getting the hang of it by now. I was going to go over a lot of statistics and things about speed and calibre of guns and all of that to show how these two tanks differ, but just look at them. One looks like the future, the other one looks like an argument in a British government meeting. Nothing like ending on a positive note, is there? Poor old Vickers Light Tank. Thanks for watching, and I hope you do come back to see what other things I make a mess of. So there we go. Bye for now.